In today's programming tool, I want to introduce you to an online-based IDE. You already know what IDEs are. For example, PyCharm, which is what we're using, is a program which we install on our computer and we can edit and run code on that IDE. But recently, there has been a trend of online-based IDEs which allow you to edit code and run it on a browser-based IDE. One of them is REPL, and in this lecture I want to introduce you to REPL and I also want to show you the benefits and limitations of online IDEs, and of course recommend you whether to use an online IDE or a traditional IDE such as PyCharm. If you want the short answer, of course it is that you should use a traditional IDE such as PyCharm, but in specific cases, as you'll see in this video, it's good to know that online IDEs also exist because they have also some advantages in certain use cases. So replit.com is the website you should go to if you want to try out this IDE, so replit.com. Once you go there, you should create a free account, and once you have your account, then this is basically the dashboard, and here on the upper right corner you have a plus icon, or somewhere, it should be somewhere in here, so try to find it out. If you press that, you'll see this window and it should ask you to specify what language do you want to work on, and that is Python, and then put a title for your REPL. So you are creating a REPL. What is a REPL? A REPL is a project. So just like we have projects in PyCharm where we put all our Python files, maybe text files, a REPL is also a project in this online IDE. So give a title to that project. My first project, for example. Now, the free plan is of course limited, so it doesn't allow you to set a project to private, so that's something important you should be aware of. Therefore, your project can be seen if others somehow stumble upon the URL of your project, they can see your code. So in your case, you can only choose public probably, and then press on create REPL. And that is your REPL. So that is a project. It looks similar to the PyCharm IDE interface in that you can see the file directory here. So main.py has been automatically created, and here is the editor area. You can write code in here, for example, print hello. I'll zoom in with Ctrl+, so you see a bigger font. And here on the right side, we have the Python console. And here on the right side, if we run the script, we should see the output. So press that green button there to run the code. You don't need to save the code, so that will run your code. And here you have the output. Now this area here can also serve as a Python console. So if you say print hi, so that is Python code, and you will get the output down here. Then this shell is a command line to interact with this server. So this is a server. It's located somewhere in the world and you are accessing it through your browser. The only way to access this server is by using this command line. So the computer does not have a graphical user interface as you have in your computer, where you can click and you can select files visually on your Windows Explorer. So this server is still a computer but does not have that sort of graphical interaction. For example, this is just an example. If you press ls and here in the shell and you press enter, then you should see the list of files in this current directory. The current directory is my first project, so you see main.py is part of this current folder, main.py, which is our file. So this computer is a Linux computer, it's not Windows, by the way, and that means Python is installed in this Linux computer. So the interpreter is installed, and when you press that button, this REPL service, they are executing your code using the installation of Python in this Linux computer. In our computer, when we use PyCharm, we are executing our code using the interpreter which we installed in our own computer. That is a very crucial difference you should be aware of. So when you execute programs, you use the interpreter of that Linux computer. And this is important because this brings us to the next point, which is limitations. So you cannot build certain programs in this REPL IDE because, for example, let's say you want to build a program which accesses the computer webcam and it does face recognition. You can build that program in your computer, you can run it with Python, and your computer camera, maybe you have a laptop, so the webcam will start and it will capture video. So that works when you are using your traditional IDE on your computer, but here this Linux server doesn't have a camera. So if you run a script which opens the computer camera, so if you have written such a program, then that program will not be able to run in this REPL IDE. Similarly, you cannot create graphical user interface programs. You know, programs where you have these buttons and text boxes, which is something you will create in this course, but you cannot do that using REPL, since, as I already mentioned, REPL just gives you access to this command line. It does not give you access to the actual graphical interface of the computer. Therefore, you cannot create desktop GUIs, desktop graphical user interfaces. However, some benefits of REPL, so why should you use it sometimes? Well, first benefit is that if you sometimes are on a mobile phone or a tablet device where you don't have traditional IDEs installed, then you can just go to your browser, go to repl.com, log into your account, and there you have all the REPLs. So you can access the REPLs by going to this button and then go to My REPLs. And you can scroll down, and down here, for example, we will see my first project. If you click that, that should open the project again, and you can view the code, you can start coding. So that's one benefit, you can program from a mobile device. Although that is hard to do, but sometimes maybe you are traveling or so it's handy to have your code in an online IDE. The other benefit is that you can share your projects with other people. All you have to do is click here on your browser address bar, copy that URL and just give it to anyone, and they will be able to open their browser, paste that URL there, and they should see your project and they can make a copy. They cannot edit your code, but they can make a copy of the project and they can edit then their own project. And so that is a very easy to share your code base with other people. REPL does allow that. So that's what I wanted to introduce you to in today's video about programming tools. You know the benefits, you know the limitations, so feel free to use REPL when the need arises. But for this course, I highly recommend you to focus on PyCharm because that's a real IDE which has all the features we need. So thank you and I'll see you later.